Sometimes you'll pray the rosary and you think, I'm running out of ammunition. Like there's nothing, or I'm running out of content to meditate on. I don't know, that might not be your problem, but for me it is. There's certain...
It's everybody's problem.
Yeah, but for me, certain mysteries you can really visualize it, and then there are others you're like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be thinking about right here. Help me out.
Well, I mean, first of all 5 of the joyful mysteries are unique to Luke. Okay. So the Annunciation of the angel Gabriel to Our Lady, that's really only in Luke. The angel appears to Joseph in Matthew. So you can sense that, okay, the Son of the Most High, whoa, holy is his name. She gets it. And then over and again, you have in the first 2 chapters, in the Annunciation and in the Visitation, where Elizabeth declares, who am I that the mother of my Lord should come to me? And the babe leaps for joy in the womb. So this idea of recognizing this miraculous grace of divine sonship, I mean, in some ways that's like wallpaper, or that's like, a staircase with well-worn steps, you don't even notice it anymore. But when you go back and you sort of reacquaint yourself with it, it almost requires you to defamiliarize yourself and then read it in Luke 1 and 2. And look at the notes as well, because when she goes up for the presentation, scholars in most study Bibles would say, this is the law that you find in Exodus 13, verses 12 and 13, and Leviticus 12, where you redeem your firstborn son with 5 shekels, only they offer a pigeon. And so Luke must be getting it wrong, or no. What the presentation involves is nothing less than not buying your firstborn son back so that some Levite is replacing him, but doing what was initially commanded in Exodus 13, verses 1 and 2, where all of the firstborn, including the humans, belong to God because they were redeemed by the blood of the Passover lamb. Now, later on, the Lord sees what's going to happen with the golden calf. They're going to desecrate themselves. The Levites alone are going to become the priests. But this is like one of those things. I mean, Ratzinger notices it in Volume 3 of Jesus of Nazareth. René Laurentin notices it. David Michael Stanley, a Canadian Jesuit scholar, notices it. But what you have here is something seismic, quiet, almost silent. But she is not redeeming her son. She is consecrating him every bit as much as Hannah did with Samuel in the opening chapters of 1 Samuel. And that's why the Magnificat so closely resembles Hannah's song. And when you make the connections, you want to go back and read Hannah's song. You want to go back and realize, okay, Samuel was vowed to the priestly house, even though he wasn't a Levite. So Jesus now belongs to God. He belongs to God the Father. He is the Son of the Most High. He is the firstborn Son of the Father. And so when the bar mitzvah, or whatever you want to call it, occurs in Luke 2, you get a sense, as it were, why Jesus would say, behold, your father and I have been looking for you anxiously. And he said to them, how is it that you sought me? Did you not know that I must be in my father's house? Literally in the Greek, the note points out, is not house, but in that of my father. In other words, I must be completely caught up in my father's business, my father's affairs. Now, father's house would refer to the temple. So in a real way, Joseph might be tempted to say, yeah, you should have been in your father's house. We would be in Nazareth by now. But Joseph and Mary understand the mystery by faith that they're raising the Son of the Most High, that it really is the Son of God and the Son of Mary. And, Mary can say, behold, your father, not your foster father, not your legal father, but because Matthew describes how Joseph named Jesus in terms of the covenant law, he really is a father figure in his life, not biologically, but spiritually and legally. Behold, your father and I have been looking for you anxiously. And he said to them, how is it you sought me? Did you not know that I must be in my father's house? Well, which father? Well, now that he's come of age, he really does belong. But he goes back home and is obedient to them, and he grows in wisdom and stature and favor with men. But there's one other thing I want to point out that you just mentioned, and that is when they found him, after 3 days, they found him in the temple, sitting among the teachers, listening to them respectfully, honoring his elders, as it were, asking them questions. And you just mentioned the Socratic method, because I and you, we're sure. I mean, he was asking questions, but I've always wondered about this, but he's asking questions instead of just stipulating what he knows to be true from his Father. He's asking questions to evoke proper responses, sitting there among the teachers, listening to them and asking questions.
And all who heard him were amazed
at his understanding and his answers.
Wow, there you go, his answers.
So in St. Peter's, you've been to our parish many times, there is that stained glass window of the finding of the boy Jesus in the temple.
Yeah.
And Mary and Joseph are in the background. Jesus is sitting there respectfully among all of these elders.
Yep.
And you can just see him, he's asking questions, and they're looking at him with amazement. And the thing that I contemplate when I get to that mystery is, Jesus, you seem to have the same passion for teaching divine truth that gets me up early every morning and keeps me up late every night. Only you have it 100 times more than I do. But this idea of feeding people's souls the bread of life, I mean, this is the fire in his Sacred Heart at 12 years of age. And how much he longed to teach them, how much more he could have taught them that they probably weren't ready, is a clear indication of how much he wants to teach us.
Interesting.
He loves us, he respects us, he'll listen to us, he'll ask us questions,
So do you think
but to open us up.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Do you think he was asking them a question so as not to offend their pride, so that they would be open to receiving instruction that way?
I think that's exactly right. They're amazed at his understanding and his answers. I mean, he's youthful. He's 12. He's a diplomat. Diplomacy is the art of letting someone else have your way.
Yeah.
So you ask the right questions at the right time to lead them to the answers that they might not have ever arrived at apart from that kind of art of Socratic dialogue.
Yeah, imagine being a fly on the temple wall, huh? Listening to that.
Oh, yeah. But if we were believers sitting there or just standing back, he would look at us and smile, even more than Jonathan Rumi, might wink, and just impress upon us, I love you. I am the truth. I want to communicate the truth that I am to you in the most compelling way, but not just to convince you, but to light your heart on fire.
So would it be right to assume that Christ, in asking questions, was not in need of the answers? In other words, was he learning from them?
Well, he grows in wisdom and stature.
Yeah.
So we distinguish between his infused knowledge, because he has that being divine. He also has acquired knowledge because he's truly and fully human. So through experience and through study, he is going to grow, and that's acquired knowledge. But he also has what the second person of the Trinity could never get rid of, and that is beatific knowledge. So he doesn't tap into the knowledge that he doesn't need to be faithful to his Father's will in his life, in his public ministry. But it isn't as though this is like out of reach. It isn't inaccessible. But in his own self-emptying, in his own kenosis, what he does, he doesn't, in a sense, he doesn't divest himself of that which is divine, but he's also not concealing his divinity. There really is a sense in which he's revealing the greatness of God does not consist in showing that I'm always smarter than you, I can always dominate you. The supremacy of God lies more in a love that is life-giving, that is the eternal life and truth of the Godhead. That the Father doesn't expect the Son to grovel, doesn't push him around, and the Spirit who binds them in love. This is the reality of divine supremacy. And so instead of assuming that he's concealing his ignorance, no, he's revealing a way of knowing that is rooted in the divine humility of love.
Hey, thank you so much for watching. Before you go, do us a favor, leave a comment, let us know what you thought of the video, like, and subscribe.